Hi everyone, welcome back. We are going to continue reading Flight from Death, Jasmine Gallo. We're reading Chapter 1, Part 2. As an aside, that noise you hear in the background, that's my radiator. It's the life I live, and now you get to be a part of it. It's amazing, all the noises you hear when you live in an apartment building. Anyway, let's continue. Ready? So, I'm Shimmer, in case you were wondering, and I happen to be a dragon. A blue dragon, specifically. If you don't know what that means, here it is in a nutshell. I'm a water dragon. I'm connected to the element of water in more ways than you'd think, and I'm most at home when I'm in a lake, ocean, swimming pool. Hell, even a bath makes me feel more secure. I can sense heightened emotions and tend to be a little volatile myself, just like Mama Ocean. That's where my trouble came to play. I got myself in a really bad jam and, long story short, was exiled from the Dragon Reaches for 5 years and stripped of some of my powers. The Wing Liege, one of our main council members and the advisor to the Emperor, commuted what could have been a death sentence and sent me earthside. He assigned me to work for his friend Alex Radcliffe. That the Wing Liege even admits to knowing a vampire still boggles my mind. But friends they are, and so Lord Vine, really, the Wing Liege, just sounds so silly, gave me two options: accept the punishment or face certain assassination at the hands of my enemies. Exile seemed like a better option. So I've been here about 5 Earthside months, and I'm slowly acclimating myself to human culture. But it's not easy. We're not all the same. I don't understand a lot of the mores and customs, and I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to fit in. So you're human, like everyone else. We're here all our lives, and we still don't understand it. I don't even understand other soups very well. Supernaturals, I'm assuming. I miss the Dragon Reaches, but since I was never accepted there in the first place, another long story, best saved for another time, I decided to give Earthside my best shot. It's a chance for me to make a fresh start, one I never got at home. Essentially, I'm on probation. I screw up and I get sent packing to a fate that might well include my execution. And while working for Alex can be nerve-wracking, it's not as frightening as the thought of having an assassin on my tail. Oh, last thing. As to what I did, well, let me give you one piece of advice. Never, ever steal from a white dragon. Even if you think he might have clues as to who your parents were. Even if his sons tortured and humiliated you. Being an orphan is rough, especially in the Dragon Reaches. Being dead, even harder. So, can you come back as a ghost of a dragon? I was just finishing up on the computer, entering some info on a case we'd recently resolved when Alex called me into his office. I made sure I had my iPad and headed to see what he wanted. That's going to sound really dated in, I don't know, 50 years. Alex's office always gave me the creeps. The ceiling was high, which I did like. At about 12 feet, it gave the room an open, airy feel. But against one wall, a line of trophies faced the door. A rhino, a hippo, a giraffe, and a crocodile all jutted out in 3D living color from their mounting. I guess he is not human, a vampire. Over his desk was a giant swordfish. Occasionally, I'd hunted them when I was in dragon form underwater, but I never thought to stuff one and stick it on the wall. At one point in his 200-some-odd years, Alex had taken up big game hunting, and this was the result. He told me when I'd questioned him that it had been during a time when things like sport hunting was accepted, almost expected in some circles. And he also said that while he'd never do it again, he wasn't about to disrespect the animals he'd killed by dumping the trophies in a thrift shop or just tossing them away. They're dead, buddy. It doesn't really matter. She uses and a lot to start her sentences. It's throwing me off. It's really not necessary. I keep them as a reminder that I really don't want to play judge, jury, and executioner anymore, he told me. The rest of the office is a mixture of brilliant wall colors, old wood, and chrome and glass. Glass-covered cases displayed the numerous blades Alex had collected. He even had a bow and quiver of arrows slung over a coat rack. I wasn't sure if he could use it, but chances were he could. Alex was rough and tumble. He'd never passed for a cowboy, but he sure could pass for Mad Max. I slid into a chair opposite his desk, looking around. Two of the vases that I liked were gone, and one of the panes of glass in the display cases was also missing. No doubt the victim of Glenda's temper tantrum. But I decided it was best to tiptoe around the subject and lean forward, readying my tablet. Ready. What do you got for me, boss? He laughed, folding his hands against his stomach. He had a flat stomach. Nicely flat. He's a vampire. He can't be fat. Way too nice. In fact, I noticed far too many nice things about him. It had been quite a while since I'd paired up back home, and I was feeling the lack. She's horny. I get you, girl. I get you. A grin spread across his face, showing the very tips of his fangs. What are you laughing at? I squirmed a little. His gaze was cool, and yet, since the first time we met, there had been an underlying heat between us that made me uncomfortable. Half the time, I wanted to smack the guy. Half the time, I was tempted to push him against a wall and rip open his shirt and run my hands over that smooth, cool chest of his. You're always so to the point when it comes to... Sorry, I got distracted. You're always so to the point when you come in here. He leaned forward. You need to learn how to loosen up. You're my boss, I muttered. Truth was, I'd almost staked him a couple of months back. Granted, I'd been under a charm at the time, but the end result, I'd just about dusted my boss, and any chance I had at making a go at things. I was still amazed that he wasn't holding a grudge. Yes, I am your boss. I also hope you consider me your friend. Okay, here's the deal. Patrick Strand, he's an old friend of mine. We go way back. He a vampire? Usually vamps associated with their own kind. Actually, he is, yes. At least now. He wasn't when I knew him. He runs a B&B joint up in Port Townsend, geared towards soups, especially vampires. He bought it a couple of years ago, but recently got around to converting it over. That's when the problem started. Alex winked at me. Patrick always did know how to pick 'em, whether it was women or houses or jobs. Now I couldn't resist. I set down my iPad and stared at him pointedly. And you do? So what gives with Glenda? Your succubus girlfriend has anger management problems. You know. Bet wouldn't ask you outright, because she probably knows better, but I don't have her filters. Didn't she say she was going to refrain from asking him? Alex had just claimed me as a friend, and I was used to being upfront with the few people I had befriended over the years. I found it saved a lot of trouble and misunderstanding. Or maybe not. As his eyes began to turn a dangerous shade of crimson, I thought maybe I'd pushed too far. But a moment later, they faded back down, and he slumped into his chair. So when he gets mad, they turn red? Does the blood that doesn't exist in his body go to his eyes? I'm so stupid. Truth, I couldn't take it anymore. Shimmer, that woman. He paused. I refuse to take orders from anybody regarding my business or who I associate with. He waved for the door. Make sure the door's shut, will you? I hesitated. Alex didn't usually open up to me. He usually talked to Bet when he wanted to mull things over. Something must have happened. I crossed the door to make certain it was closed. Okay, spill it. What did she want? Alex shifted in his seat, playing with a pencil. The squeak of his pants against the leather was the only sound in the room for a moment. That's oddly specific. Finally, he looked over at me. What I say in here stays here, you understand? I grinned. I didn't survive this long by opening my mouth at the wrong time, dude. The realization that I could actually smile about my past, at least to some degree, hit me. That was a lot more than I'd been able to do a few months back. With a laugh, Alex threw the pen back on the desk. No, I suppose you do. You did. All right. Glenda ordered me to fire Bet. I blanked. Bet was the glue that held the agency together. She made it run like a well-oiled machine. And Glenda didn't have a stake in the business, so to speak. Why the hell? Wait, was it because you two were an item way back when? He nodded. Glenda's insanely jealous, but she expects me to accept her nature without question. She's a succubus, for fuck's sake. I know I'm not enough for her, but if I accept her need to feed on sex from others, she jolly well is going to accept that I have some women friends. I don't usually sleep around, not anymore, but I'm not about to kick out one of my best friends that I've ever had to make my overly possessive girlfriend happy. Why not sleep around? It's not like you can get anybody pregnant. They're dead. They can't generate sperm. Leave it alone. Now I understood why he was talking to me instead of Bet. You don't want Bet to know about this. He inclined his head. Exactly. First, it would piss her off, and a pissed-off Melusine is a dangerous enemy. Second, I think it would hurt her feelings, even though I told Glenda to fuck off. So you broke up with your girlfriend to save a friendship. No, I broke up with my girlfriend because I'm tired of batshit crazy. I can handle regular crazy. I can even handle temper tantrums, but I can't handle someone trying to run my life for me or dictate to me what I do or do not do or who I befriend or hire for my agency. If Bet asks, I just had enough. That's what I'm going to tell her. Just one argument too many. He leaned forward, a pale smile on his lips. His voice dropped as he said, I've been thinking for a while that it's time I moved on. Find someone my speed, you know? His gaze was unwavering, and I couldn't look away. Those frosty eyes were gorgeous, wide, and luminous, and below them the narrow, sculpted nose and the pale stretch of lips mesmerized me. The intensity of emotion that I felt rushing across the desk overwhelmed me. Blue dragons were good at picking up on emotions, and I found myself wanting to reach out and touch those lips, to draw my fingers across them. All too aware that I was breathing rapidly, I forced myself to lean back and clear my throat. Yeah, I know. I sucked in a deep breath and let it out slowly, trying to calm the heat that was beginning to work its way up my body. From the beginning, I had found Alex attractive, but I knew it would be a mistake to act on it. He and I were like oil and water, and he was my boss, and he had a jealous girlfriend. Strike that last shimmer. The corner of one side of his delicious lips began to curve upward. Oh, shimmer. Shaking up the images that cascaded through my mind, I very slowly picked up my iPad and forced myself to say, maybe you'd better tell me about the job we're going out on. And just like that, he paused, let out a soft laugh, and returned his attention to the papers on his desk. Right, the job. Another pause and the moment passed. We were back to business. As I said, my friend Patrick owns a bed and breakfast up in Port Townsend, and he's having problems. What kind of problems? And what's the name of the place? The High Tide Bed and Breakfast. It was supposed to open last month, but a series of accidents forestalled that. There's more, though. Alex frowned, staring at his notes. Patrick thinks he's being haunted. Ghosts. Wonderful. Okay, does it really matter if a ghost haunts a vampire? I mean, what if the ghost just wants to, hang out at the B&B? I don't know what ghosts do. I had very little experience with spirits and wasn't eager to add to my repertoire. And what makes him think that? I tapped in a few notes on my tablet. Strange noises, poltergeist activity, cold spots, typical stuff. I told him we'd come up and investigate. And there we had it. A real case landing at my feet at last. Over the past few months, we'd taken on some low-key items, but nothing out of the ordinary. Mostly taking pictures for divorcees or court cases. Soups were really good about knowing when they were being followed. It took another soup with a good camera to record the necessary proof. But until now, Alex hadn't thrown me into anything major. He told me that business was in a lull, but I suspected he'd been turning away clients until I got my wings about me. Now it appeared he thought I was ready. The thought actually excited me. I was tired of hanging around the office. Hell, I wasn't even used to staying in one place for more than a few weeks. Settling down was proving to be a lot harder than I thought it would be. Sure thing. Anything I need to bone up on? I spent my life breaking into people's, dragons' houses and rifling through their stuff. I had a decent amount of experience at getting myself into tight places. If not one of them, but working on a team entailed other skills. Wow. Alex went to me. No worries, girl. We'll head up tomorrow night. Find the ferry schedules, would you? We need to travel from the Coupeville ferry over to Port Townsend. We'll leave first thing after sunset, so pack a bag for a few days. You might want to read up on the town. It's an odd place, supposed to be spook central, from what I gather. I'm telling Ralph to pull out all the stops and bring our ghost hunting equipment. Equipment? But you're a vampire. Ralph is a werewolf, and I'm a dragon. What do we need technology for? Why not? I knew that the agency had a store of EMF meters and EVP recorders and whatever else humans had managed to create in their own quest to prove that ghosts were real. But really? Alex let out a snort. Listen to me, Shimmer, and learn. Always go in prepared. We probably won't need this stuff, but better to have it with us than not. I may be a vampire, but that doesn't mean I know when ghosts are around. Same with Ralph and you. Not all soups are psychic. He made a good point. Right then, tomorrow night we leave right after sunset. Bet can pick me up, I suppose. I still didn't have a driver's license, but was doing my best to learn, though Alex refused to let Bet teach me. He was making me take lessons at the Soup Community Action Council. which was just fine. Somehow the thought of speeding around Seattle in a 2-ton metal cage just didn't appeal on any level. Even though, in dragon form, I dived 5,000 feet down in the ocean, driving a car intimidated me. Why? What do you know about the house? I created a new section in my notes file. Patrick said that the place belonged to a friend of his in his pre-vampire days, guy by the name of Nathan Stryker. We're going to need to look into his history, but I figured doing so might be easier while we're up there. Meanwhile, I guess I'll go home and pack up Glenda's stuff. He let out a sound. Whether it was disgust or regret, I couldn't tell. My bet was on the former. How long were you together? The question spilled out before I could stop myself. I clamped my mouth shut and stood up. He gave me an odd look. Too long? 2, maybe 3 years? I don't know, I guess. It was easier to just stay with her than face problems we had. Nobody likes to admit they failed. Is 2, 3 years really that long for someone who's going to live forever? With a sheepish duck of the head, he told me right there all I needed to know. It's been over for a while. He just hadn't gotten up the courage to end it. I headed for the door. Then it hit me that we'd be away for the weekend. Together. Granted, Ralph would be with us, but a lot could happen in unfamiliar territory. I glanced back. Alex? Yes? He looked up, already engrossed in his Werwick search, the newest soup search engine. I paused, my hand on the doorknob, but then decided against saying anything more. Shaking my head, I gave him a gentle smile. Nothing, never mind. As I closed the door behind me, I realized that I was beginning to care about Alex, maybe a little too much. It seems that we came into this series midway. Oh well, makes it more interesting. Well, there you have it. End of chapter 1. I'll be back Monday, I guess, with chapter 2. Hopefully it won't be too long. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend, and see you later. Bye.